Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to an episode of Greatlocs. I'm Gunther the Great, and today we are continuing the series of the top 10 best dreadlocks in the game. And we're starting out with Lil Pump. A lot of you are probably thinking, I thought Lil Pump was going to be number one because you've done so many videos on him. And the reason I've really done so many videos on him is just because he's done so much to his dreadlocks. Same thing with Lil Uzi Vert and all these other people that do so much to their dreadlocks. To see the progress, there's so many things that you get to cover on his dreadlocks. So this is actually the very first video I believe that I posted on Lil Pump, so it's my raw reaction to his dreadlocks, and you guys get to see it in today's video. And I do want to mention before we get in today's video, like I said in the other videos, if you need dreadlock tools, make sure to go to greatlocks.com and you can pick yourself up the interlocking tool or the crochet needle or both in the locking bundle and save yourself some money, because we do have a sale going on right now. And if you DM me, I might end up giving you a free shipping code. So go ahead and DM me on Greatlocs on the Instagram. But you guys, with all that being said, let's give this video a thumbs up and go ahead and jump into Lil Pump's dreadlocks. Not literally. We're not going to jump into his dreadlocks, but we're going to take a look at this clip. All right, to get it started off, we're going to be looking at this photo right here. And I believe that this dude is a rapper. I don't listen to his music, but his hair is pretty interesting. He has like some pink dreadlocks, some blonde dreadlocks. Just from looking at this picture, it does look like his hair is blonde, but it's not. His natural hair color is either dark brown or black, which I've seen in other photos, but we'll get into that in a little bit. His hair is blonde and pink right here, and it's very outstanding. So people are very attracted to the way this dude dresses, the way this dude looks, and his hairstyle. And that's a bold move. It's a very bold to actually color your dreadlocks like this, and just to have your hair out in such a great way, you know. And I've heard multiple ways on how this guy started his dreadlocks, but if you actually zoom in, you can see that he's just been doing almost pretty much whatever it takes to actually lock up his hair. It looks like some of his hair has knots in it, so what he does is he'll knot up the bottoms. I see a bunch of knots in his dreadlocks, so he actually ties them. Just grabs the dreadlock, literally he'll grab the dreadlock and just tie it like a knot. And I see that he has a knot in every single dreadlock, and that's just to assure that his hair is going to stay locked up, which from the looks of it right now, his hair is definitely going to stay locked up for however long he wants it to be locked up, because it is definitely locked. But I'm assuming, since his hair is like wavy, maybe curly, but it's not super thick, that he did use crochet needle, that he may have used back combing, he could have used some palm rolling, and he could have also used rips and twist. One thing that he can't do is twist his hair, which he could, but it'd only be temporary. But other than that, let's move on to the next photo. This is actually the same day, just different pose. You can see the top of his hair, that he just has a whole bunch of new growth, a whole bunch of wispy dreads. His hair actually does look really mature for being that kind of hair type, the wavy, the curly hair type. And this just gives everyone with straight hair like hope, or with wavy hair hope, that you can get dreadlocks. He just goes about it in a different way. I noticed that he does put rubber bands at the tip of his dreadlocks, and I noticed on some pictures that his rubber bands are at the root of his dreadlock as well, and that will help section out your dreads so that they're not combining with each other. That's just a great way to maintain your hair, especially with straight hair or wavy hair. But it's pretty cool and interesting how he started them. And here's another picture. He's actually in the daylight, so you can see that his hair is very bright. The pink is just super saturated, and the blonde is super bright. And the ones in the front almost look like they're going platinum, like a platinum blonde with the pink contrasting it. And this is just, like I said, a crazy look. And that's why I thought it was a perfect opportunity to do a review on him, to show how crazy some people's hair is, and how bold people are in choosing their hairstyles. And I feel like that's how everyone should be. Like, be bold in what you actually want to look like and what you want to be like, but present yourself how you want to be presented. That's a big thing as well. In this picture, you can't see any rubber bands at the end of his dreadlocks. Looks like he's already got over that stage. I think there might be some at the roots. You can actually see some rubber bands at the root of his dreadlocks, and that's just to keep him from combining at the root. Now in this next picture, you can obviously see all of the rubber bands at the end of his dreadlocks. Now one crazy thing is that I heard someone tell me that he actually started his dreads with 2-strand twists, but I almost think that's impossible. I mean, it's not impossible, but it would take a longer time, and his hair wouldn't look as progressed as it is right now. But yeah, he got all the rubber bands in there, and his hair is just bleached right here. It's not super blonde, more of a like bronze color. So this is during the earlier stages. I think this is when he started popping off. And here's another picture. He has beads in his hair right here, and you can see that his hair is not mature whatsoever, and his hair could almost even be braided right here. You can't really tell. He's got the beads in his hair. Pretty cool. You don't really see anybody wear beads in their dreadlocks, really. You mostly just see like dreadlock jewelry, like the metal pieces and all of that, but I've never seen like beads and dreads. Mostly braids is what you see beads in. But this is probably around the time when he started his dreads. He always has them hanging in front of his face. I personally don't even know what this guy's face looks like. But on to the next picture. He is at a photo shoot, and he has his hair swinging, and as you can tell, the roots are black. and his hair is blonde and pink still. I think he's gonna stick with this color. He's probably not gonna be like Lil Uzi and keep changing his colors, but you never know, he might. I think the pink and blonde is what he's known for in the dreadlocks, you know. And on some of his dreads you can see that he does have rubber bands in them, and some of them don't. But I do believe still that even probably today he has the rubber bands at the root, holding all the dreadlocks together so that they don't combine. But you can just tell his hair is super matured in that he's maintained it very well, because the roots look maintained right here compared to the other pictures, and they just look like almost they're twisted. They could be, you never know. But from the looks of his scalp, it just looks like he's maintained them with like crochet hooking and stuff like that. And here's another picture of his young dreadlocks, and they are super young right here. The tips are super skinny and very wispy, and his hair just looks messy, and that's kind of how dreadlocks look at the beginning stage. And he has all the rubber bands in there, so that's really cool to show that process. I've never actually seen this process done with the rubber bands on the tip and at the root, other than myself. I've done this before. I did it for about a week of my dreadlock process, and it works. Really helped out with the separation. And then moving on to the last photo, this one could be the most recent. You could tell that he has a lot of length on his hair, and if you look closely at some of the dreadlocks in the front, it almost looks like he's been interlocking them, unless those are just the ones that he has knotted up together. And that's an interesting way on how to lock your hair. I've actually seen a lot of people with straight hair or wavy hair that actually twist their hair and put them into knots to actually lock their hair up. One thing I do want to point out is that his hairstyle right here looks pretty cool. I think he has it pulled up in the back, just a little ponytail in the back, which looks pretty cool, and he's got the few hanging in the front. I think personally, like, this hairstyle suits him very well, so he doesn't have all of his hair hanging in front of his face. Alright guys, I know we've seen enough of Lil Pump, but there's still so much going on with his hair, and I think there's gonna be a time to where he just ends up shaving it all off and he's gonna wear a low haircut. But we'll just wait and see, because a lot of things that I have said on this channel already have come to pass. Like even with LaMelo Ball cutting his hair, I called that, and then I also called, there were some other people that I called cutting their dreadlocks. But alright, here we go guys, moving into the number 3 position. Who do you guys think it's gonna be? Alright, did you guys comment down who you thought the number 3 position is? Well, if you guessed Scarlord, then you were right. Scarlord is in the number 3 position of top 10 best dreadlocks. We're getting close to number 2 and number 1. So who do you guys think is number 1? Comment down below as well. But while you're doing that, let's take a look at Scarlord's dreadlocks. Here we go, first picture, he's in a bandana with his hair, and this dude is always wearing a mask. And check out his hair. Right here in this picture, I don't see why people would deny that he is getting dreadlocks. His hair is actually forming right here, and I'm almost positive that he's twisting these with his fingers to get that initial locking process started. Because if you've seen his hair outside of dreadlocks, his hair is pretty nappy and pretty coarse, but it's also frizzy. Which, if you guys do know, frizzy hair is good to enable the dread process. Same with nappy hair, which they go hand in hand. Okay, so a lot of his hair in the front is going down, and some of his dreadlocks are actually inside of the bandana he's wearing. On top of his hair, it is mostly like frizzy and just afro-y, if you could put it that way. And then in the front and kind of in the back, I've seen in other photos, they are all kind of starting the locking process. But we're gonna move on from that photo and then jump into this photo. As you can see, his hair is super frizzy. If you look at it, it almost looks like there's gel in his hair. Like he just got gel in his hair and then he started running his hands through it. But I doubt that's the case. Why would someone do that? But you never know. His hair in this picture is just mostly nappy. You can't really tell if his hair is dreading or not. You can see that there is some sort of sectioning, which I said earlier is probably him just twisting it with his fingers, which a lot of people do that. Even with an afro, a lot of people will twist their hair with an afro, and then you could see little sections that they came out with, and a lot of people do that. Not much to see here. I just wanted you guys to see the texture on his hair and see where he's coming from, and you can see where his hair is going as far as the progress is going. In this next photo, you can see that the sections are way better and coming out better than they were. And a lot of the time, if you are twisting with your fingers and just messing with your hair on your free time and everything, it will start to section out. And then if you're washing it along the process of that, it will start to form together and start the locking process. Because if you guys do know, water will enable the locking process. Even washing your hair, as long as your hair is washed and dry, as your hair is going through a washing and drying process, it will start to lock, because your hair has to be clean and your hair has to be dry in order to lock. So this is just like the third picture showing in the process. These aren't actually in order. I try to put it in order as good as possible. Scarlord does wear a bandana most of the time with his dreadlocks. Alright, and then moving on to this next photo, which is a far back kind of shot, but it does show you the back of his hair and the side of his hair. And obviously his hair is starting to form really good. He does have a lot of dreadlocks on his head. He does have a high top fade, which makes it easy for him to put that bandana on and rock that style. A lot of people do wear that style, or they'll wear a tennis cap or some sort of headband with a high top, whether freeform or maintain dreadlocks. Very popular style. A lot of people do have it. Like Lil Uzi Vert, like, even though he doesn't have dreadlocks, but Lil Yachty. 21 Savage has a high top. There's so many people who have the high top dreads and the freeform or whatever. xxxtentacion has the high top as well. And a lot of people are wearing this style and it's very popular now. But yeah, that picture, you can see the progress and the process of what his hair is going through, and that his hair is actually taking form and starting to mature. Here is, I believe, an older photo, and his hair is a little more fuzzy, you can see. But also it could just be the photo and the angle and everything. But in the last photo I did show you, it did look more mature. But on this one, his hair does for sure look a little more relaxed and not super maintained or anything. Well, obviously his hair isn't maintained whatsoever, I don't believe, unless he's just twisting with his fingers like I did say. His hair is definitely getting there and it has matured a lot, especially according to that last photo. But this is the last photo I do want to show you, is this next one. And his hair just looks really cool. This hairstyle is really nice, and it's a very, I feel, professional look if you have dreadlocks. This is a professional look because he has the nice, his hair isn't like a fresh fade, but he does have the sides cut down and the dreads on top, which is, like I say, the best of both worlds. And his hair is super frizzy on top still, but it's more of a maintained dreadlock look. Even though his hair isn't maintained, it's not twisted or crocheted or anything like that, it has a more maintained look to it, has a more professional look to it because of the shaved sides. If you guys think different, you can also comment down below if you guys think a full head of dreads is more professional than a high top head of dreads. Let me know. But I believe personally that a high top just looks more professional. You can actually just portray yourself as more of a professional. Not saying that a full head of dreads is less professional, but just from the outside looking in, from anybody looking at you, some people will look at others with dreadlocks and kind of look down on them just because they have dreadlocks. It is pretty sad that people will judge you from the outside, but it is true, and I just believe that the high top looks a little more professional. But this guy has a pretty cool set of dreads, just like everyone else I have reviewed. Everyone has a unique set of dreadlocks, and his hair is really cool. And it does remind me of how my hair was when I started. That's just the beginning stage, and then it'll start to get that hang time, and then after it gets the hang time and they start sectioning out, it just takes off from there, and it'll just be a maturing process, and the process will be even faster than before. Now in my opinion, I think Scarlord had some of the best looking semi-freeform dreadlocks, because I'm pretty sure he started out with some sort of method and then kind of slowly maintained it, but not too much to the point to where it looks completely maintained all the way down to the root. But in my opinion, he has some really dope dreadlocks. But since I did it in episode 1 and 2, I'm going to move on to a bonus person, which in this episode is going to be xxxtentacion. So guys, xxxtentacion had a pretty cool transformation of his dreadlocks from start to finish, and let's just take a look at him. And in my opinion, I think he had some of the dopest ones in the game. So comment down below what you think. Now, Mr. Tentacion is very famous for his half black and half blonde dreadlocks. And I thought this was super crazy when I first seen his hair, and I was almost like, why would someone do this to their hair? And it's very popular now. I see people on YouTube getting it. I see people on social media that have their hair like this, and it's pretty wild how much of a following this dude has in order to have people follow him as far as getting their hair exactly like him. Now guys, in this picture, it is another mugshot. You can just tell the texture of his dreads that they are somewhat maintained. His tips are very maintained, as if he is sitting there and he twists on them, and you can almost tell that this guy is right-handed based on the tips of his dreads on the right side of his head compared to his left side of the head. Left side is more frizzy and wispy, and the right side, which I'm talking about the blonde side, has more tamed tips, and they are twisted together and blunted off. And on the black side, you can see that some in the front are congoed, or actually I can just see one that is congoed up, and that Congo is a small Congo. You could barely see it at the end on the tip, and I'm not sure if he has any other Congos, but based on his hair texture and how he kind of goes about his dreadlocks, I can almost guarantee that he has more Congos in his hair. And now we're going to a flashback of when he had just like a high top fade with a nappy top. Not sure what you want to call that, I just call them nappy tops. Pretty much like a high top fade with a just like a sponge. Looks like he used a sponge method to get his hair like this, and he must have just matured his hair afterwards by using a sponge and twisting his hair. And this is what your hair does look like after using the sponge, so I'm assuming that he did that. And if any of you guys are wondering how I started mine, I did start with the sponge as well, and this is how my hair turned out. And this is probably how his hair is going to turn out eventually throughout time. Now this dude just honestly looks super creepy, and just because his eyes are black right here, but other than that, I mean, there's nothing really wrong with it. All right, next picture, you can kind of see his hair right here. He's wearing a hoodie and it kind of cut him off on the top, but in this picture his hair texture looks super soft and almost wavy and not too tight of a curl, but his hair does look super frizzy right here, and you can tell that his hair is able to dread up, and that's why he has dreads these days. Now it almost looks like he's not even African American right here. Now he may be different culture, I'm not exactly sure, but from the outside looking in, he does look African American. He does look like he could be mixed with something, but I'm not quite sure. And this picture, he's on stage, and he has been having his hair like this lately, which I've seen on social media, or if I've ever seen him anywhere, like this is how I usually see his hair now. And he has it pulled up in the back, and then he has the front down, and a lot of people do rock their hair like this, and it does look pretty cool. I personally wouldn't rock it like this because I don't like having my hair in my face, but a lot of dreadheads do have their hair like this and they like this style, and it does look pretty cool. Now this is a new famous picture from him, and it's a picture when he's performing, and this dude just looks crazy if you look at this picture. Just the whole structure of his face and his expression is just throwing me off big time. His hair in this picture is pretty cool because he has the blonde braided back and the black braided back, and he's got the double braids, which that look is really nice. I like the way that looks on high top dreads, which it looks really cool in his hair, and I feel like this is something that he was rocking recently as well. But he pretty much has like a bald fade all the way up to the dreadlocks, and that's actually a fade that I used to get, and I just recently switched over to like a low fade, if you guys can tell. But yeah, I got that the other day, and the high fade all the way to the dreads is really nice as well. And here's another picture of him with his hair not dreaded up, and you can tell in this picture definitely that he does have loose curls and they're not super tight. So that does have me thinking if he really did use towel rub or sponge rub or anything like that, because it is definitely hard to do like wavy or loose curly hair with that. He could have honestly just twisted it with his fingers. Based on this next picture, you can tell that his hair is maturing more. There's that dread on the front to the right, and it looks mature, more mature than the other ones. The other ones just look nappy, like a little nappy fro. But overall, I like this stage of dreadlocks, the beginning of dreads. Those look really nice. And bouncing back to the more recent pictures, here's him with the double braids back and like fresh lineup, fresh fade and everything. And overall, I feel like this is the best hairstyle for him just because his hair is half black and half blonde. It looks really cool. Now rewinding back to an earlier stage of his, this is right around the time when his hair was starting to mature, you can tell. And the only way you can tell that your hair is maturing is when your hair starts to look like an actual dreadlock. Because I know in the beginning stages for me, people didn't even know that my hair was dreads. But you could tell in right here that he has dreadlocks and they were starting up. Now this is farther back than the previous picture. He has the fade all the way up to his hair, and his hair does not look mature whatsoever, but you could tell that he was using some sort of sponge or towel to get this, because it doesn't look hand twisted at all, unless he were to hand twist it and then wash it, and then it would look like that. Alright, so what do you think about today's video? And what do you think about the list so far? We only have 2 more people left on the list, and who do you think those people are? Make sure to comment down your guesses below who the top 2 people are with dreadlocks. I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say. But you guys hopefully enjoyed today's video. Make sure to go check out greatlocks.com. Like I said, we do have a sale going on right now. And do not forget to go join the community on the Greatlocs Instagram page. Just give us a follow and you join the community. It's more like a family. But you guys, other than that, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.